Coming to you live from the palatial studios of PBJ Productions. Welcome to Patrick and BJ Talk Real Estate, where we talk about life, the universe, and everything as it relates to real estate. Hey everybody, it's BJ
and Patrick,
and we're back talking all things real estate. And I just want to thank all of our subscribers, all of you that have joined in with us here. And if you haven't, please take a minute. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. We are putting out regular content every week and want to make sure that you don't miss anything. And so without further ado, we just had in BC on the 1st of May, the new short-term rental legislation. I was going to say ram through, but go through.
This is how we do it in BC. We ram things through, right? Like a provincial government. It doesn't matter which party. I remember Gordon Campbell like ramming through HST. Mm-hmm. And then everybody, it was good for businesses. And then we're like, oh, we're so upset the way it was done. And it's got retracted after some years.
Sure.
Right. So short-term rental rules are now in effect.
Okay.
Which is like, wait a minute. We already had zoning bylaws. We already have Strata Property Act.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, they're now in effect. No, these rules have been around. They're just, the provinces is jumping in on board to have like their own.
For one, it makes them, it looks good.
Oh, they're
to somebody.
If you follow like employment stuff, they're hiring like the short-term rental police.
Yes.
For a position to like.
Yeah, for someone.
Investigate.
Basically, someone
right?
who's scanning Airbnb and Verbo and these different websites for
licenses or something,
whatever.
Yeah.
And going to obviously we've got buildings like the Janyan, which was a building designed for short-term rentals.
That was the whole purpose. That was like the city approval for them.
Yeah.
Was like the negotiation between the developer and the city to be able to have these short-term rentals to make it saleable.
Yeah.
I know. And then the Victoria took it away. But nonetheless, this is where we are now.
Yeah.
Oh, and all these rules are only good as much as we could have enforced them.
Yes.
Because all of these rules have been complaint driven in the past.
That's right. Yeah.
These bylaws, zoning, everything, right? Yeah. Strata. So, but the big point is, without covering, these are all the restrictions, these are all the rules, these are all the things you have to follow. This is a cautionary tale for real estate investors. My big thing is, don't be one of those cautionary tales. How many people bought into properties? Now, Victoria got rid of the zoning somewhere around 6 years ago. So if you bought within, let's say, the last 6 years and you didn't know about the grandfathering rule, that your the ability to do the short-term rentals is on a timeline. It's going to run out. So if you didn't know about that, I'm sorry. You should have been made aware of that. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you're looking at real estate investing in the future, I don't want to say it this way, I'll say it. Not all realtors are created the same.
Okay. That's fair.
So, I might be better at some things than another realtor. Mm-hmm. I might be more familiar. And there's things that like, you know what, I'm really not aware of how quarter share rentals work.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I'm not interested in that type of property. Right. It's very, very few transactions happen like that. I have other things that I'm really good at, and not everybody is good at everything. Yeah. So my encouragement would be like, when you're finding a realtor, it's not just like Uncle Bob or Aunt Samantha, right? To like, just because they're a family member doesn't mean they might be the best choice.
Right.
Ask specific questions about what kind of property you're looking for and see how well versed they're in, and do your own research, right?
Yeah.
So you don't become
a cautionary tale.
I really feel sorry for the people that are on the news when they tell their stories about like they bought this property and it didn't work out and now they have to sell it, and they long-term renting isn't going to work. For whatever the situation is. I'm not saying I'm a cold-hearted bastard. Like, I just want people to be aware of the risks before moving ahead with
Yeah.
whatever real estate investment they pursue or they think is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, now you have capital gains when you try to sell that.
Yeah, and if it's more than the 250, your inclusionary rate's going to be higher. We'll see
And-
how that affects
And that's still
people
coming
overall.
out, but it's going to make a difference. We talked about that already. So,
Yeah, and what was yeah. So a couple other points was like, right, 6 years ago, Victoria removed the STR zoning from buildings, grandfathered. If you bought property, let's say a condo, it's already against the rules, it's already against the zoning, and you operated like an Airbnb or a short-term rental,
yeah.
and now you're gonna get busted for it.
Right.
You were asking for that. You should have known that it's against the law already.
Yeah.
And you've been operating illegally for a long time without getting caught. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
Hats off to like having the cojones to do that, but that's probably a person with have a high risk tolerance,
Yeah.
because you're gonna get caught at some point, right? And all right, so the gravy train's over for those things.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? Yeah, you should be always aware of the risks of whatever you're going to invest in.
And I tell my clients all the time, look, at the end of the day, I'm not the one who's signing the mortgage.
Yeah.
I'm not the one who's taking the risk here of what you want to do with this property. Just make sure that you understand what it is that you're getting involved in. Here's what the zoning says. And, I dealt with one property one time acting for my client, and a commercial property where we pulled all the zoning, looked through all the zoning,
Yeah.
got it all together. And they told me after, when they went to the city said, no, that zoning's incorrect. And so it took them quite a while to get the city to agree that we had the correct zoning, because somewhere along the line, some owner had submitted different zoning, but it was never really done, but they just updated it anyway.
What?
Yeah. So it took some expense for my clients to get the zoning, to get them to agree that yes, the zoning is correct as we've got it written, and you can do what you want with this property according to the zoning, which is what they wanted to do. And they would have never bought the property if the zoning wasn't the appropriate use.
You know what? I'm really glad you brought that up, because I was doing my due diligence. I was listing a property. It's a commercial office building. Anyways, and I was double checking the zoning. I did all my internet searches and that. But on top of that, I called the municipality to talk to the planner, and they corrected me. They're like, that's an old designation of zoning. It's been updated since then. So I've got the updated zoning and all the allowances and everything like
Sure.
that. But I could have easily missed it if I wasn't one of those weird people that phone everybody to double check.
Right. Well, and in this case, we were right. And
they were
and they were
incorrect.
wrong.
Yeah.
And we basically went back to them, and eventually they said, you're right, we were wrong, and you have the correct one.
Right. So,
But at whose expense?
I think the point is like double checking, not just as a realtor for protecting our clients, but just double checking your research. Mm-hmm. Like, is this material accurate? Is there any way I can confirm that this is the most up-to-date version of whatever the case may be, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Yeah, that's a quick one for today, but thank you for joining us. Again, subscribe if you haven't, please, and just make sure that you don't miss anything that we're bringing out and talking about. If you have some things that you have questions about real estate wise, we're happy to answer those, whether in the comments or maybe even a different episode. We can do some Q&A stuff, which we've done before. Yeah,
There's been a lot of comments. A lot of it's sort of like negatively commented, which is totally fine. But we try our best to make statements based on data provided by the data source, not a secondhand source.
Yeah.
That's basically how we like to approach these things. But putting all that aside, if you are thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Greater Victoria, Southern Vancouver Island area, including businesses, BJ does a lot of commercial work. I do some commercial work when it comes to anything that's attached to land. But if you have any questions or you have interest in that, please feel free to reach out. We look forward to you talking to you and discussing that. And thank you so much for watching. We will catch you in the next video.
See ya.